Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So we're going to start today. I want to tell you something that happened. I think I mentioned to you that I was in New York on the holiday.
Yeah, Brooklyn.
And one of my friends is a superintendent, an assistant superintendent in schools there.
I met my superintendent.
Oh, you
in
did?
high school, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
And he wrote to me an email after I got back and told me that they're eliminating music from the district.
One word. Lame.
Well, and he wrote to me because he wanted to know if I knew of any research that he could use to convince people that this was an important thing. So by your answering lame, it makes me think that you also think having music in schools is an important.
Oh yes.
Okay.
I'm in band.
So are you in
course,
band?
yeah.
What do you play?
Clarinet.
I used to play clarinet a
I
long
also
time
play
ago.
piano. Oh.
Okay, we're good.
Okay. So I want to write to him and create something that he can share. So I want to try to persuade them that music should have a place in school.
Okay.
So before I start writing, I thought I would make a little list. Let's start on this side of reasons why we think music should be in school.
Okay.
And he did ask me to look up some information, and I did find out that students who have music in high school actually have higher GPAs than students that don't have music that are in the same high school. So that's one piece of evidence that I could use to try to persuade them. What other things can we...
Well, my band teacher is
I got
sorry.
it.
Okay.
Why don't you just stand even, move the chair over.
All right. So my band teacher is we have to have good grades to stay in band.
Okay.
Like he checks our grades and stuff, and
So does it motivate you to have good grades?
Yeah.
So let's put that down, motivation.
motivation.
What about the music itself? So I know...
It's so much fun, like being in a band and just playing instruments.
Okay.
And
We can write fun as one of the words, but also when you said being in a band, that makes me feel like you're part of a community.
right. It's like your own little separate community of kids.
Let's write that down too.
We have like band parties.
So part of a community or something like that. Let's see if there's anything else. Let's see if we can come up with one more so that we have, because this will be too much for a paragraph, but at least we can get started
You
on
can learn
writing.
to read music.
Okay, let's write that down because that's another kind of literacy.
Yeah.
And I know that if you read music, it helps you in regular reading. There's lots of research that shows the way music benefits other across the curriculum. So I have, let's look at this. So we have this one and this one too.
Yeah, motivation for grades.
Those three are kind of the way music influences outside of music.
You're gonna have me write a persuasive essay.
Well, we won't write the whole essay, but we'll get it started. And then we have two things about music itself. So let's find one more that's just the benefit of having music for music's sake. Why do you like to play?
It's an art and it's enrichment.
Okay, so let's put that down, enrichment. All right, so now we have two categories. We have one that's music helps you outside of music, outside the curriculum, and one category that's music for music's sake. Let's start with music for outside the curriculum because I think that's going to help convince people. It's sad. I think we should be able to just say, music fills us up, or I always like to say sometimes music creates the words that I don't have. So sometimes I hear a song and it captures the feeling or the words that I'm not otherwise able to express. Mm-hmm. But we're trying to convince people to spend the money to keep music in schools. So let's start with these three. So now we'll need to come up with a lead sentence. And the first sentence, a lead sentence always wants to hook the reader. We want to make sure people are going to want to keep reading, but we don't want to give it too much away.
Right.
So let's see if we can come up with a lead sentence that will help us convince people to keep music in schools.
Dear Superintendent.
Okay. So let's start with something assertive, like music is important, or
Music is an
I think you
important
should keep
part
music.
of life.
Okay.
School.
Okay. Both.
life and school.
Could be. So let's try that sentence out in our mouths before we try it
Okay,
out.
music is an important part of life and school.
You want to start with that? We can
Sure.
always come back and edit. Okay. So I know we have to add a paragraph here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I noticed when you said it out loud, you said life before school. Does it matter to you?
No.
Okay, we'll leave it like that.
Well,
But
I think school is like. Well, I don't know. I don't know.
okay. No, I like this sentence a lot because we can now have one section that talks about how music influences school life and one
life
paragraph
on-
that
outside.
outside school. So you did this in a way that helps us keep our writing organized. So let's start with school. So let's start with this one. So we have to create a sentence that talks about the fact that students that are in high school music programs tend to have higher GPAs than students at the same high school. So let's
Okay.
practice the sentence first out loud before we write it down.
Students who take music in high school tend to have higher GPAs than those who don't.
Okay. Let's try it out. Write it down and let's see. We can always come back and edit.
Students who take music.
Okay, let's do one more sentence before we go back and edit, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So now choose between reading music helps you learn literacy, or that participating in music it helps you have motivation for your other subject matters. Either one of those. Which one do you want to work on?
I should do motivation.
Okay, so then let's come up with a sentence that talks about how music, and you can speak personally to this.
Okay.
So if you want to say I, you can do that. Music motivates me, or let's practice. First practice with your mouth, because writing is just thinking that comes out of your mouth. Writing is just thinking that comes out of your pen. It's the same. So first let's
Okay.
practice with our mouth.
Music motivates me and other students to have good grades
Okay.
and just have good grades.
Okay, we can stop there and then we'll edit, okay? So let's write that sentence out and then we'll go back and see what kind of changes or revisions we need.
Music motivates me to. Oh, can I have better grades?
Sure. You can write whatever you'd like. Okay. So let's take a moment before we write any more, just to read what we have so far, okay? Go ahead.
Okay. Dear Superintendent, music is an important part of school and life. Students who take music in high school tend to have higher GPAs than those who don't. Music motivates me to have better grades, and
Go ahead.
I have something else. Okay.
Go right ahead. Okay. So when I am listening to you read this through, I feel like maybe these two sentences are in the wrong order.
Yep.
Maybe this sentence should come before this one. We could just draw an arrow like this. But then let's work on this sentence first, okay? Music. Music motivates me to have better grades. Now, when we were talking earlier, you told me that you need to have a certain grade average
To
participate.
in
But I
music.
don't know if the reader would know that. So is there a way we can include that in this sentence? Well, like when I read this, I say, well, why does music motivate you?
You have to have a B+ average.
Okay. So how can we add that to the sentence?
Music motivates me to have better grades. because you can't really do that. And then music motivates me to have better grades because you need to have a B+ average
Okay.
to participate.
Let's do that. So let's get rid of this part of the sentence. We can add that. That could be a good transition for the next part, which talks about life, but let's stick to this topic first.
Because
Okay, good job. Music motivates me to have better grades because you need.
to have a B+ average to participate.
Okay, great. Anything we want to change about that sentence? Music motivates me to have better grades because you need to have a B+ average to participate.
Well, you don't need to have a B+ average to participate in music. You need to have a B+ average to participate in band
Okay, you
or
can.
orchestra. Participate. And like everybody takes music once a week or twice.
You're lucky.
Normally it's once. Band or
That's awesome to hear. So many
Yeah.
schools don't have that anymore.
going to an art school next year. So.
Are you?
Yeah.
Music motivates me to have better grades because you need to have a B+ average to participate in band or orchestra. And I think we need to say that that's important to you.
Yeah.
So let's put a comma and then which is very important to me or which is important to me or which is my favorite part of school or which, however you want to say it. Okay. Now we're going to go back to this sentence. Students who take music in high school tend to have higher GPAs than those who don't. So I think that sentence makes good sense after your sentence, but we need a transitional phrase.
Okay.
So, in addition, therefore, also, what would work there?
Also, students who take music. in
Okay,
high
let's try
school.
that on.
Okay.
So make that a lowercase s. That's good. And a comma, good. All right, let's see what we have.
Okay.
Start with the beginning.
Dear Superintendent, music is an important part of school and life. Music motivates me to have better grades because you need to have a B+ average to participate in band or orchestra, which is very important to me. Also, students who take music in high school tend to have higher GPAs than those who don't.
Great. I noticed one thing, a little editing, that there's a possessive. You created a possessive in a place where there's an apostrophe unnecessarily someplace.
GPAs?
Yeah, it's GPAs.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so now we can come up with a transition sentence and go on to the next paragraph. How's that?
Okay.